Have you ever had that feeling where you totally understand English, but when you try to speak, the words just get stuck? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to break down how to fix that for good. We've got 5 really practical techniques that'll help rewire your brain and finally unlock that fluent, confident English you've been aiming for.
It's so frustrating, isn't it? You can watch movies, read articles, no problem. But speaking? That feels like a whole different ballgame. Well, the reason for that gap is actually surprisingly simple, and it's all about what's happening inside your head.
So here it is, the core of the problem. Most of us are taught to think in our native language first and then translate everything into English. But that translation step, it's a huge bottleneck. It's slow, it's clunky, and it's why sentences can come out sounding a little off. Fluent speakers, they don't do that. They just think and then they speak directly in English. That's the goal, right? A smooth, one-step process. Okay, so how do we actually make that shift? Well, I can tell you it's not about memorizing endless grammar rules or giant vocabulary lists. There's a learning secret, a core idea that just completely changes the game when it comes to learning a language. Get this, 3,000. That's it. That's the magic number. Research shows that if you know just the 3,000 most common words, you can understand about 95% of everyday spoken English. See? Fluency isn't about knowing every single word in the dictionary. It's about really mastering the right ones. And the best way to learn those words is through this concept called comprehensible input. Now, this is the secret sauce. It's basically how we all learned our first language as kids. We didn't study grammar books, right? We just understood messages through context, through what we saw, through hearing them over and over. Your brain is literally built to learn language this way, naturally. And this quote just sums it all up perfectly. We learn language when we understand it, period. It's not about studying the language itself. It's about using the language to understand something interesting. Once that clicks, honestly, everything else just starts to fall into place. So let's get practical. Our very first technique is all about rewiring your brain to completely skip that translation step we talked about. The goal here is to build a new habit, to make English the default language for your own inner thoughts. And you've got to start small. You don't need to be thinking about complex philosophy or anything. Just narrate your own life inside your head using simple English sentences. As you're walking down the street, think, I am walking. While you're having lunch, think, I am eating. It sounds almost too simple, but this little habit starts to build the pathways in your brain that you need to think directly in English until it becomes second nature. Okay, technique number 2. This one tackles the biggest roadblock for so many people. Fear. That fear of making a mistake, it can be totally paralyzing. It stops you from getting the practice you desperately need. So the solution is simple, but I know it's not always easy. You just have to speak every single day. This is such a huge mindset shift. You have to start seeing mistakes differently. They aren't failures. They are just proof that you're trying, that you're learning, that you're pushing yourself. So embrace them. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Chat with a friend. Record a voice memo on your phone. It doesn't matter. Just get the words out. Daily practice is so much more important than being perfect. All right, now let's combine our next 2 techniques, because honestly, they work together like a charm. It's all about improving the quality of the language you take in, the input, and then practicing how you produce it, the imitation. First up, vocabulary. Please, forget about memorizing long random lists of words. It just doesn't stick. The smart way is to learn words in context. So instead of just memorizing that excellent means very good, try to learn it in a full sentence like, wow, this meal is excellent. That connects the word to a real meaning and a feeling in your brain, which makes it way easier to remember and actually use. And that brings us to shadowing, which is just an incredible technique for imitation. All you do is find some English content you really enjoy, a movie, a YouTube video, a podcast, and you listen to a short phrase. Then you pause it and you repeat it, exactly as you heard it. Try to copy the rhythm, the tone, the pronunciation, everything. You're literally training your mouth and your ears to sound more natural. And for our final technique, we're going to put it all together. This is a super practical exercise to make your grammar and sentence structure feel automatic so you stop having to think about all the little rules while you're trying to talk. It really is this simple. Just pick one word, let's say a verb like go, and then challenge yourself to build as many different sentences as you can with it. I go to school. I go to the gym. I go with my friends. This repetition drills the correct sentence patterns into your brain so that they come out automatically without you even having to think about it. So there you have it. This isn't some kind of magic trick. It's a method. It's a consistent daily practice built around these 5 core techniques that together will literally rewire your brain for fluency. Let's just do a super quick final recap. The most important word here is consistency. Every single day, start by thinking in English. Find just one moment to speak, even if you're just talking to yourself. Learn one new word in context, not from some long list. Spend just a few minutes shadowing a native speaker. And finally, practice building a few sentences. This is your daily blueprint for success. So I'll leave you with a question, a challenge, really. Forget about tomorrow or next week. Right now, what is the first simple thing you're going to think? Not translate, but think directly in English the moment this explainer is over. That one simple thought, that's your first real step on the path to fluency.